While the American Revolution often evokes thoughts of 18th century revolutionary fervor in places like Boston and Philadelphia, and conjures up images of the Sons of Liberty dumping 46 tons of tea into Boston Harbor, there is a lesser-known story that does not unfold on the streets of Boston or inside Philadelphia's Independence Hall. Although ignored in traditional narratives, this story is vital to American independence. Our story unfolds on the rough and rugged western frontier and along the southern Gulf Coast against the backdrop of colonial warfare, involving covert military campaigns, Texas Cowboys, and thousands of Spanish Longhorns. American forces faced food and supply shortages from the very start of the conflict, and hoping to avenge Spain's losses against the British in the 7 Years' War, King Carlos III of Spain secretly supported the American rebels when he ordered the governor of Spanish Louisiana, Bernardo de Galvez, to funnel much-needed money, medicine, and military supplies to the rebels, including gunpowder, hundreds of cannons, and tens of thousands of muskets, musket balls, bayonets, and uniforms. Recognizing the strategic advantage of this assistance and hoping to foster a relationship with Spain, Virginia Governor Patrick Henry frequently reached out to Galvez, proposing trades of local commodities for additional military support and financial assistance. Officially joining the Americans and declaring war against the British in 1779, King Carlos III again turned to Galvez to open a third front in the war against the Redcoats along the Gulf Coast. Galvez, however, knew that if the Spanish were going to defeat the British in battle, his soldiers would need food. So, in order to feed his army of 7,000 men, he turned to Spanish Texas. During the American Revolution, Spain had 3 civil settlements in the province of Texas, one at San Antonio de Bexar in present-day San Antonio, a second at La Bahia, present-day Goliad, and a third at Nacogdoches. The Spanish, having settled the region known as the province of Texas in 1691, Galvez knew there were well-established ranches and large herds of Spanish cattle roaming Texas's southern region, with 40,000 between San Antonio de Bexar and La Bahia alone. Here, Galvez could acquire a mobile commissary of Texas Longhorns to feed his troops. In order for the cattle to reach his troops, Galvez would need to transport them across the province of Texas and into Spanish Louisiana, which would prove difficult since it was forbidden to export cattle to a neighboring province. To acquire the cattle, Galvez wrote a letter formally requesting permission from the Spanish governor of Texas, Domingo Cabello, asking him to authorize what would be the first of several official cattle drives out of the Texas province. Initially skeptical, Cabello relented upon receiving a letter from the Commandant General of Northern New Spain, Teodoro de Croix, who wrote that, "Because dispatching this livestock is expedient to the service of the king, I dispose that your lordship proceed immediately." With this, Galvez was able to secure a large donation of 2,000 head of cattle from missions and private ranches throughout the Bexar La Bahia region to feed his troops. To transport them, Tejano patriots drove the cattle approximately 500 miles east into Spanish Louisiana, following the El Camino Real from San Antonio to Nacogdoches, then continuing eastward into Spanish Louisiana to Natchitoches and Opelousas, where Galvez had soldiers waiting to distribute the cattle to his forces in New Orleans. Along the way, they faced several dangers, including cattle rustlers, attacks from Comanches, lack of shelter, and inadequate drinking water. In addition, the Cowboys traversed multiple creeks and rivers, including the Guadalupe, Brazos, Trinity, and the Natchez rivers, and then the Sabine River, which they crossed into what was known as the place where the cowboy met the pirate, or No Man's Land, a 15-mile-wide strip of neutral land that stretched on its western edge from the Gulf Coast to present-day Logansport, Louisiana, while meandering along its eastern edge from present-day Cameron to Lake Charles, Natchitoches, and Kingston. Whether or not the first cattle drive during the summer of 1779 actually made it to Opelousas has been debated. However, Texas cowboys were indeed successful in bringing between 9,000 and 15,000 head of Texas Longhorns to Spain's revolutionary forces, who defeated the British at Manchac, Baton Rouge, Natchez, Mobile, and finally in Pensacola. The critical food shortages suffered by the British helped ensure their defeat, while Texas beef energized Spanish soldiers, helping them secure American independence for the colonists. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more historical insights, and let me know in the comments what other stories you'd like to hear. For more about me or the sources used in this video, check out the description below. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you next time on Our History Today.